Alright, welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're taking a look at this week's pre-orders. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for Games Workshop themed content. That being said, let's take a look. We have our second week of the pre-orders for Horus Heresy. It is the 11th today, and we know next Saturday, the 18th, is when the Horus Heresy stuff will be officially available. So we have the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness at $2.99. Obviously the launch box for this set. We do know directly from Games Workshop that this will be a, I want to say permanent addition to the range, but you know, not necessarily permanent like forever, but at least for a lasting while, it will be the box set available to get you started. So there may be some smaller boxes that come later, but this is not just going to be a launch box the same way that Dominion and Indominus were, where they were extremely limited, and then once they were gone, or I mean, I shouldn't even say extremely limited, they were supposed to be limited, and then once they were gone, they were no longer available for the range. With the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness set, this is, you know, supposedly if it goes out, if it sells out, if it's gone soon, it'll come back. We just don't know exactly when. So it's not going to be necessarily limited, but we do know there are some limited items that come if you purchase directly from the store. And then obviously we have the Liber Astartes and Liber Hereticus, the heavy and special weapon upgrades, all of our Legion dice, the Carta Galactica Imperium of Mankind map, all of our transfer sheets for each of the 18 legions, 9 Chaos and 9 Loyalists. And then we have Chthonia's Reckoning Special Edition, as well as in hardback, we have the Horus Heresy Magnet, and then Lupercal's War. And then next we have the Warhammer Horus Heresy Reaction Tokens and Cards. So there is a set of 8 tokens and cards that are available to anyone that purchases the Horus Heresy box set directly from Games Workshop. Overall, so far, it seems like things are selling pretty good. There's definitely some demand for the Horus Heresy stuff. We do know that there is roughly like 15,000 of these reaction tokens and cards available worldwide. So they're only available one per box set when you order directly from a game store. So until those are sold out, we know that Games Workshop Direct has not even sold 15,000 copies of the game. So that being said, it's important to pay attention to. When we see these disappear from the store, we know that, you know, obviously this box set has sold decently. With the previous set, Dominion, for Age of Sigmar, it was about 35,000 of the special edition items offered, the tokens and everything. So there was essentially, I mean, over double as much of the limited edition stuff available. And it lasted fairly long, but eventually sold out. But we know now you can find Dominion boxes for literally 50% of retail. I mean, they retailed at like $200, and you can buy them for basically $100 to $120 now. So a lot of them sold from Games Workshop store because they did eventually run out of tokens. But we know there was just way too much Dominion floating around. So is that going to be a similar situation with this? Well, we'll have to see. Until we see these reaction tokens and cards gone, we know Games Workshop hasn't sold 15,000 of these box sets directly. So we know that, you know, basically either people don't care about the reaction tokens and cards, they'd rather get a discount somewhere else, or they're just not selling that well regardless. So we'll find out in time. But that being said, you know, we can see some of the other items that have sold out already. So we have the new White Dwarf coming out. We have Azek Ahriman being re-released from the old sets. And then we have all the blast markers and dice, you know, scatter dice, Apocalypse Barrage markers. Apparently the Alpha Legion transfer sheet, very popular. I mean, it's at least sold out. We don't know how many they had, but people bought them. We have the Hellstorm marker, and then obviously Universal marker set. So basically just all the templates. For anybody that doesn't have templates, maybe they're trying to snag these up. You know, I still have plenty of them from previous editions. And then we see the special weapon upgrade set. This did sell out at $42. So there's 6 special weapons in this, and there's 10 of each special weapon in the set. So you get 60 special weapons, and it's $42. So it is less than $1 per special weapon. Overall, that's pretty much in line with what I was expecting, and I think fairly reasonable. I think realistically, you could like cut this kit in half because it's clearly like just 2 duplicate sprues or however they're doing it. It looks like essentially from the image, it's basically just 1 sprue and then the second sprue all separated off and ready to go. So for $21, if you got half this, if for $21 you got 5 each of 6 weapons, so there was 30 total, I think this would be a great deal. I think at $42, it's not bad. You're just buying double of it. So maybe you end up with extra weapons you don't need. Maybe you want to bring just like all meltaguns, so you want 10 of the same weapon. Overall, I think they're pretty good, but it is interesting to see that the upgrade special weapons have sold out already. So obviously people are looking at those. Next we have the Deimos pattern Rhino. This thing is super cool. I mean, it's a great kit. I think it looks awesome. So not surprised at all this has sold out. Very cool. We know obviously this is coming back. It'll be part of the main line. And then we know the Mk3 Tactical Squad and MK4 Tactical Squads were previously released. When you got them previously, they came either in a set or 10 in a box. Now we're getting 20 in a box for $80. So compared to, like a Primaris box set or something new that would be coming out where you're paying $60 and you're getting 10 guys in the set, for $80, getting 20 guys in a set is a phenomenal deal in comparison. So to tell you the truth, and it's been a while since some of this stuff has been even available like direct. So I'm not surprised at all that the Mk3 and Mk4 units have completely sold out. I do think that's a really good deal. Again, compared to Games Workshop projects already, I'm sure someone's going to chime in the comments and be like, hey, X so-and-so company, you can buy 120 soldiers for, $40, and that's a way better deal. But, what do they look like? Are you getting little plastic army man, whatever? I'm talking about Games Workshop to Games Workshop. So for Games Workshop to Games Workshop, would you rather pay $60 for 10 guys or $80 for 10 guys? I would say, or I'm sorry, 80 for 20. I would say the 80 for 20 is a much better deal because you're paying 40 for 10 instead of 60 for 10. So when it's all said and done, I'm not surprised to see that those are sold out. Next we have the Kratos Heavy Assault Tank. This thing is really cool. We went through the breakdown of the rules and everything that was released for this. I really like the model. It looks great. It's awesome. I think there's pretty much, you have to run it with 4 las cannons because they're essentially, you're paying for them in the price of the tank, whether you take the different weapons or the las cannons. So when it's all said and done, I think if you run this bad boy in 40K with the data sheet we've seen so far, if you run it with 4 las cannons and the big Melta Lance or its other big gun, the one pictured right here, I think it was the battle cannon, its battle cannon or whatever, I think you do okay with this thing. It's pretty cool. You also have to pay a command point for it. Not particularly amazing, but when it's all said and done, nice vehicle, awesome model, and you could it's definitely viable in 40K. I don't think it's going to be a game changer by any means, but realistically, this is for Horus Heresy. So I'm not sure how it stacks up in that. And then finally we have the Horus Heresy Committed Loyalist Collection and the Horus Heresy Fervent Trader Collection. Both $625. Essentially include the main box set Age of Darkness, and then you get the upgrade heavy weapons, the upgrade special weapons, and then one of each of the tanks, the Kratos and the Deimos Rhino, and then also you're going to get either, depending which set you get, the Hereticus, Liber Hereticus, or Liber Astartes. I didn't go through and do the actual breakdown on this, but I'm assuming that the $625 is basically just paying retail price for all this stuff. So, it's $300 for this, $425, $472, another $70 for the book, so that's $542, and then we have $42 for this, so that's $584, and then, so you're basically just paying for everything, just retail price. So it's just a bundle set. But when it's all said and done, I'm not surprised to see what sold out. These have not been available for a while. These 2 new tanks are very cool. And then the bundles tend to typically sell out because there's a lot of people that just want to buy whatever the new release line is, and it's just simpler to kind of get the whole bundle. So again, it doesn't really surprise me. The special weapons and heavy weapons, obviously pretty popular. We'll see. The heavy weapons didn't actually sell out this first set, but we'll see when they come out with the future sets. I don't think this one is like the most desirable, and they've already shown off a couple of the other ones that are going to be coming out. So like this one is 10 each of the missile launcher and heavy bolter. We've already seen there's like Volkite, there's Plasma, There is multi-melta. There is las cannons. I think there's one more that I'm missing off there too. Maybe, no, the heavy bolters in this set. I can't remember what the last one is. But one of the other sets has 3 weapons in it, 10 of each. And then the other is just like this and has 2 weapons, 10 of each. So I think overall, nothing really surprising right here. I think at the end of the 2-week pre-order period, we'll have a better idea how well this is selling out from the information that we have and everything, how many people are placing the orders. Whenever you have a 2-week pre-order period after the first week, it's hard to judge if you're going to have more people that were waiting and then are going to buy it, or if most people already hurried up and got signed up for the pre-order and are going to be like not as much demand for the second week. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we don't know at this point in time. The tokens and cards are a great way to tell exactly how Games Workshop sales are doing, specifically online, and how many of those, because we know as long as there's 15,000 of these, as long as they're still available, we know Games Workshop has not even sold 15,000 copies. Again, half of what they had for Dominion, the special from them sets, and we know eventually those did sell out, but there is literally like Dominion flooded the earth. So there is so much Dominion around. The price is literally half of MSRP still. So when it's all said and done, clearly they made way too much Dominion. I mean, very, very clearly they made way too much Dominion. Also, though, they're kind of cannibalizing their own sales because the Dominion set was like the release launch box, and then afterwards they released all of the like price point starter sets with like the $50 price point, the $100 price point, and the $170 with the terrain. And it had pretty much the same models in it, just smaller quantities of them. So anytime you have that coming out afterwards and there's still that original box available, certain number of people are going to buy the starter box versus just a big Dominion box, and vice versa. So you're kind of like cutting into your own sales. So if there are, in fact, like we speculated, separate boxes later on, like starter boxes with smaller amounts of models in them, basically like a $50, $100, $170 box set for this, or $200 box set for this, if these are still floating around afterwards, they're probably not going to sell as well if the other boxes are a good value. But, again, we'll have to wait and see. Overall, I think the Horus Heresy stuff has done quite well. I'm a big fan of all the new plastic stuff that has come from ForgeWorld. Not a big fan of ForgeWorld resin or customer service or pretty much anything to do with ForgeWorld, with the exception of how awesome the models are. So whenever we see cool ForgeWorld models or popular ForgeWorld models coming into plastic from Games Workshop, for me, that's a huge success. So we have the Dreadnought, we have the Spartan, we have the Leviathan Dreadnought coming as well. We have the Kratos, we have the new Rhino, we have all of the troopers here essentially. Very, very nice stuff so far. So, and then we'll see going into the future when we get that Leviathan is the next one that's already been announced, and we've seen the model, looks very good. What are the other popular kits from ForgeWorld that we may see going into the future? Possibly something like a Fire Raptor or Storm Eagle. That would be really cool. Love to see those flyers coming back, especially in plastic, as those kits are less than desirable in resin. And then what else? I mean, I would love to see some of the AdMech stuff coming in plastic. The Custodes obviously have a nice plastic range, but maybe we could see, one of the Dreadnoughts or a couple of the Dreadnoughts coming in plastic. That would be pretty awesome, or possibly even a tank. So very, very excited to see the direction that they're going with this Horus Heresy stuff, bringing it into 40K, away from ForgeWorld and into, Games Workshop essentially. So, but that's it for today. Obviously, no massive rush on any of this stuff. I don't think any of it's going to be like sold out and gone forever type deal. But obviously, if you missed out on one of the tanks or something like that, you'll be able to get it into the future. But the pre-orders were obviously very popular for them, which is not surprising because they are some really nice vehicles. I'm sure the Spartan tanks are going to be very popular. They'll be coming out separately eventually. And then also the Contemptor Dreads as well. We'll see when they come out separately and how they're boxed, etc., what weapon options there are, and all that good stuff. So, but going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Let me know what you think down below. Does it seem like this is really popular locally for you? Did you guys already have a 30K like group or, people that were playing it? Or is all of a sudden a bunch of 40K players or a bunch of Sigmar players or other game players in your local shop starting to express interest? Does it seem like this is really big? If you work at a shop or own a shop, love to hear your feedback on how well this has been selling, how popular the pre-orders have been, and how much hype is behind it. I always try to keep my thumb on the pulse of Games Workshop Marketplace. So love to hear from you guys. And if you are new to the channel or you have not subscribed yet, please like and subscribe, share the video with your friends, leave a comment down below. If you're into anything from daily reaction, review, painting, modeling, conversion tutorials, any of those good things, check out our playlist. We basically do our content on Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warcry, some Horus Heresy, pretty much any of the Games Workshop tabletop war games. So that's it for today, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.